Welcome to episode 12 of Drew's Baseball Crew here on this Monday night or Tuesday morning or whenever you're listening to this episode here on the podcast. And myself, Drew Skyberg, bringing you the way to build your winning lineup here on Phantasia Sports. Full disclosure, I got to mention this before we start. If you have listened to at least two of these episodes, or even more here, I want to point out how last week you would have taken 4th out of 70 if you use this lineup. And I say if you listen to more because, I've given some plays on here that have won, people some parlays or, of course, some other lineups too, if we want to stick with the DFS kind of thing with the daily fantasy sports here. But look, it's been hot last week. Again, 4th out of 70 was the big thing on Phantasia. Had to make a story post on the Instagram at Drew's Sports Crew, as you see up here. So make sure to keep that in mind. And follow on Instagram and Twitter. And then also you can join me on Phantasia Sports as the link is in the description. But let's go through the lineups here. Let's go through the starting pitcher report as we always do. A lot of my fan favorites are they're on the bump on Tuesday during this August 16th slate. I got to first say Colorado is at Busch Stadium there in St. Louis, so we don't have to worry about Coors Field playing in effect here. But let's go to my first favorite matchup here. I do like Kyle Gibson against the Cincinnati Reds again. What is left of the Cincinnati Reds, I should add. That could be a good play. I just, with strikeouts, I get a little worried. I like Edward Cabrera, but is it Padres, a tougher matchup? Might be one. There's more guys I like, so I would kind of put that one to the side. Others, let's go to some I like here. Alek Manoah against the Baltimore Orioles is one. They're at Rogers Center. They're not in Baltimore, unfortunately. That would have been an even better matchup, right? With how that field has just drastically changed with the ballpark dimensions. But some other matchups. Kyle Freeland was one I was looking at. Sorry, I just was looking at, was it Freeland? I was looking in Quintana also, but Kyle Freeland, the story with him is he has struggled in Colorado. He is not in Colorado. He is against St. Louis Cardinals. Again, that's still a very good offense in mind, but if you're looking at a guy who's maybe cheaper salary wise, he'd be one, depending on where he is, on where you're playing. Better be on Phantasia. Dylan Cease and Justin Verlander is a matchup that is going on Tuesday, right? 7:10 Central. That's going to be quite the game. I'd be looking, I think, Verlander more here for sure. The Chicago White Sox struggle against right-handed pitching. I'd be all over Justin Verlander as my top guy. I would pay up for him there. Dylan Cease, we'll get to a player who I'm looking at against him there. In the outfield, Kyle Tucker's the guy. We'll talk about it. But I'd be going Verlander if I'm taking a stud, and then if I'm going more of a sleeper guy, even with Brandon Woodruff, I consider him against Dodgers not so great matchup. Robbie Ray was the other stud. I want to get the studs out of the way. Jacob Junis against the Arizona Diamondbacks was kind of like my sleeper matchup as a guy you might want to pair with. Also, J.P. Sears against the Rangers, depending on how much they'll let Sears go for the Athletics. So one actually to keep in mind. But otherwise, if you're looking sleepers, Zach Plesac against the Tigers. Look, that Tigers offense is atrocious. Could also be a good one. And he for his career, he has 148 career plate appearances against him. XBA of 241, xWOBA of 298. So very good numbers there. And, he's experienced against this squad. Zach Plesac could be a good play there on Tuesday. So the starting pitcher report, a lot of studs. So odds are you're going to be paying up there on starting pitching on Tuesday. So I'll do my best to provide some sleepers, right? Some guys who maybe you can plug in the lineup to win you, some daily fantasy. So let's go then to the catcher position as we go through position players. And again, Patrick Corbin is actually pitching against the Chicago Cubs. So I just need to mention that right away because you might hear a lot of Cubs, and that's just how it is. Wilson Contreras is the first one Again, not really a sleeper guy. He'd be one you pay up for, but against Patrick Corbin, it's a very good matchup. I love it for him. Joey Bart, depending if he's playing with the Giants or not. Again, that's the one thing about doing this ahead of time. Want to make sure I give people time to listen, but we don't know lineups is the thing. Maybe you consider him against Merrill Kelly. That's probably one I'm like, nah. But Jacob Stallings is against Sean Manaea. I like that matchup there for Stallings. I know, right? We know the Padres, or not the Padres, but the Marlins offense is not great, but that could be one to look at. Others, like Jonah Heim. I mean, I mentioned JP or Sears, but still could be a potential good matchup. Victor Caratini, if he's starting behind the dish against Ryan Pepiot, could be a good matchup there for Caratini. I do like that. But otherwise, there's not really a lot of catchers. I'm like, yeah. It's hard to say he has Monty Grandal anymore. Salvador Perez, of course, too. He's actually a career 3 for 19 off Sonny Gray. I want to point that out, but maybe you want to be a little brave there and take that risk taking him there. But last guy was Francisco Mejia of the Tampa Bay Rays off of Nestor Cortez, 2 for 6 for his career. Small sample size, but there could be some upside there. So Mejia is one to keep in mind at catcher. Thankfully, you're mostly only starting one catcher, or if you're playing elsewhere, you might not even have to start a catcher. So there could be some benefits in that. Let's go to first base. Let's take that one here. And with that, I'm looking through it. And of course, the big one I was looking at, well, Paul Goldschmidt, you would be like, you got to be including him against Kyle Freeland. That's got to be a lock. He is a career 5 for 22 off of Kyle Freeland's a career 5 for 22 off Paul Goldschmidt. Or you get what I'm saying. Paul Goldschmidt is 5 for 22 off of Kyle Freeland for his career. 4 strikeouts only, but still the numbers really aren't there other than OBP. He's walked is basically where the OBP comes in, but not good numbers there for him, so I'm not including him. However, Seth Brown against Dane Dunning that's a great matchup there for Seth Brown. I'd be looking at him for the Oakland Athletics. Matt Olson against Taijuan Walker. Good matchup there. Vlad Guerrero Jr. against Dean Kramer. I like that. Owen Miller, depending again with Cleveland, with the Guardians, if he's playing, I like Owen Miller against Garrett Hill. Otherwise, look, it gets tough. Again, and I should have hyped up Robbie Ray Moore. Look, that what is left of that Angels lineup is not great, and I'd be looking at that. If you're desperate there, you're looking for someone to start. Could be a good matchup. Eric Hosmer with the Red Sox now against Mitch Keller, 3 for 7 for his career. Again, small sample size, no strikeouts though for Hosmer there. Like that. Jose Abreu actually is batting a career. He's batting 370, 431, 826. So think about that. OPS, over 1,200. And it could be a good matchup for him. Again, I still don't like that White Sox lineup in general against right-handed or against righties, but still could consider it. Merrill Kelly also, I just want to point out, he has great career numbers against that whole Arizona Diamondbacks team. Merrill Kelly has great numbers against that whole Giants team. And could be one to look at. Again, depends what you're looking for, though, in your lineups. Let's go to second base. Luis Rengifo, who he's been hot there for the Angels. As I mentioned, the lineup has not been great, though. He career average of 400 off of Robbie Ray. Impressive stuff there. Brandon Lowe has done very well against Nestor Cortez. So actually, some of these Rays have done very well against Cortez. Brendan Rodgers, again, we mentioned not in Coors, against Jose Quintana still. Career 300 average off of him. Altuve against Dylan Cease. This is one also. This is the reason you should maybe not start Cease. He is a career 4 for 9 with a home run, 0 strikeouts off of Cease in his career. Again, Cease has made drastic improvements as he's developed over time, but still maybe not one to look at. And this is impressive. 2 for 17 for his career is Jonathan Scope off of Zach Plesac. Still, I love Plesac there against Detroit. Well, how about ones, maybe you can lean towards? Josh Rojas against Jacob Junis is, he's been doing well as of late, and the average is there with it. Other ones, look, second base was very thin today, so it was tough. Colton Wong against Ryan Pepiot. I'd like to throw Brewers in there too. Just favorable matchups. And then, if you can start Nico Horner in that spot or Nick Madrigal, maybe not Madrigal, but more Horner there. Could be a good one, but second base is thin. Andres Jimenez from the Guardians against Garrett Hill. Also, one I would consider at second. Second, not so great there on Tuesday. Third base, however, very good, very good. A lot of guys who I like to start, a lot of guys I like to play. Gio Urshela against Zach Greinke is the main one. Career 429 average off of Greinke for Urshela. Good matchup. Austin Riley has been hot. You got to go with him. Nolan Arenado against his former team. If you're not starting Freeland, maybe you want to throw Arenado in. I'm all for it. Eugenio Suarez against left-handed pitching is like, I like to throw it in like with the Darren Ruff against lefties, right? I mean, Suarez against lefties is still a great matchup. I'm all for it. Take him against Jose Suarez there. Ramon Urias, Luis Urias' brother, against Alek Manoah. Good matchup there for Urias potentially, depending where you look at it. So third base, right? A lot of guys to look at. Josh Donaldson also against Jeffrey Springs, depending how long Springs goes. Could be good. Could be good. Otherwise, O'Neal Cruz maybe against Nick Pivetta. It's not a lefty. I mean, you just gotta hope you're not starting O'Neal Cruz against left-handed pitching. Just won't work. Patrick Wisdom against. If you want to do a Cubs stack against Patrick Corbin, I'm for it. Nice 3-man stack. Maybe you do Contreras, Wisdom, and Horner. Something simple like that. Guys nice and close in the lineup. Could be a potential move there. I actually might be doing that. So I'll be posting that lineup, of course, with this episode, as always. And yeah, also Horner, he is a career 2 for 2 off of Corbin. I should have added that. But Jose Iglesias, who's been hot against Jose Quintana. Matchup there, again, not in cores, but still could consider Paul DeYoung against Freeland, career 3 for 8. DeYoung's been hot. Brandon Crawford against Merrill Kelly. That is the lone Giants matchup I'm content with. So maybe if you just want to pick one guy out of that, he could be the one. He could be. Jorge Mateo, who's been hot against Alek Manoah. Potential matchup as well. Miguel Rojas against Sean Manaea there. So another one for the Marlins that I would consider, I'd be content with. Otherwise, shortstop, it's, Kiner Falefa is one against Springs. But some guys, 3 for 29 is Francisco Lindor against Charlie Morton. 3 for 29, 0 walks, and that's out of 33 plate appearances. Like some of these numbers, it is just not good matchups for these guys. Taylor Walls against Nestor Cortez, nothing. I mean, 1 for 7. Elvis Andrews against Dane Dunning, nothing really there. But there's some guys here. It's just ugh. Also, Carlos Correa against Zach Greinke, career 2 for 18 is Correa. So some of the stars there at short are not good plays again. So keep in mind with salary, maybe not the guys you want to throw in there. Albert Pujols is against the lefty. Sorry, I'm just throwing that in for outfield DH. Right? I mean, if they're combined there, I don't know. Depends again where you're playing, but Pujols has done well against. We saw at least the Milwaukee Brewers saw what Pujols can still do against lefties. You still need to play matchups against Pujols. It is still Albert Pujols. I know he's not the same guy he once was, and he is a lot. I mean, he's not really the same guy at all, as he was against right-handed pitching. So you still got to honor though him against lefties for sure. Ian Happ, again, look, I sound like a broken record just throwing Cubs players in, but you gotta. It's just a great matchup there. Byron Byron Buxton against Zach Greinke. Like that too. Others I like, maybe Victor Reyes again, and I like Zach Plesac though. So if you say no to Plesac, I'd say yes to Victor Reyes is where I'd go. Stephen Kwan, who has been hot as of late, he is against a right-hander in Garrett Hill, so I like that. And again, small sample size for Kwan, 2 for 4 and 6 play appearances, 2 walks as well for Kwan. So that could be something good there. Luis Gonzalez from the Giants is the other. I know I said that lone one there for Brandon Crawford being the lone good matchup. Luis Gonzalez against Merrill Kelly is an exception, but the other big name lefties in that lineup, like Jock, Lamonte Wade, those guys have struggled against him. So even Brandon Belt too. So won't be looking at that. I'm all for Ronald Acuna Jr., right? I mean, against Taijuan Walker, why not? Could be a star to look at. But otherwise, outfield, it's a little tough. Mark Canha does better against righties. I like to always throw that in mind. So if you can start Mark Canha, maybe they put up some runs against Morton. Could be something there. Daniel Vogelbach's going to probably get the start there at DH against Charlie Morton, a righty, as we've seen the platoon they've been doing. Mitch Haniger has been hot as of late. I know he doesn't have the great numbers against Suarez, but you can maybe try to ride the hot hand, see kind of where it plays. And then some really deep names. Jake Fraley against Kyle Gibson. One, budget-wise, there could be some value. And then if I can go a little, deeper here, Jake McCarthy against Jacob Junis. And then Michael Harris against Taijuan Walker there for the Braves. Some other guys, Vinny Pasquantino. I just got to throw him in there. He's been hot. So you could certainly be looking at him as they're against Sonny Gray. And then I'll throw his teammate in there, MJ Melendez. Both those guys. I know Pasquantino is first base, but Melendez, if you can get him in the outfield, which he should be in the outfield in your daily fantasy apps, wherever you're playing, could be a good matchup there. Corey Dickerson's against the lefty, so sadly not going to be playing him. Lane Thomas for the Nationals is probably my final one here in the outfield. I went more budget guys on the outfield just because it's throwing all the big names at you. So I'll give you one big name, Julio Rodriguez against Jose Suarez. Hoping for a big game. He might be in my lineup. But that's going to kind of do it here for the lineups and for building your lineup here, your winning lineup on Phantasia Sports. Again, the link will be in the description on to sign up here for Phantasia and then build your winning lineup. They're free entries, right? You can win the native Phant token. That's exactly what I'm doing. I'm not spending a dime on entry fees, and I'm entering and I'm winning money. I mean, last week I literally just won money for a free entry. It was as simple as that. Great stuff there by Phantasia, and it's a lot of fun too. I mean, they are just great with the lineup, the lineup interface and whatnot. I'm all for it. It submits right away. No issues there. And then I can follow along, see how I'm doing. So some great stuff. And then scheduling update Thursday night, we will have a live recording again of Journey to Million, as it'll be myself, Drew Skyberg, Zach Roush, and Jared Vleski. We will be talking about some preseason, a lot of good stuff there. And you saw probably this morning here, Monday, if you're listening or watching here on Monday, we had a live recording from the Journey to Million live show there at Petskill Brewing Company released. Special thanks to David Neuenfeld for helping on that with the audio. Sounds great. Really appreciate his work. And it was a great event. It was a lot of fun. A lot of great people there. And we got to give away a lot of stuff. So with that, that's going to wrap it up for myself, Drew Skyberg. Thank you all for listening to yet another episode of Drew's Baseball Crew, Drew Sports Crew, the perfect podcast for you. Thank you, everybody. Good night.